PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X. How do they stack up with each other a year after their launch? Here are about 5 things I like about the Xbox Series X and about 5 things I like about the PlayStation 5. Let's discuss. So it's no secret that PlayStation dominated last generation with the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One. And at the start of this generation, the Xbox Series X and S versus the PlayStation 5, it looked about to be more of the same, right? When Xbox launched their Series X and Series S, they were missing their huge marquee flagship game. Halo Infinite was supposed to launch alongside the current gen consoles, but it didn't. So it looked like it was gonna be another rough start for Xbox, but I firmly believe that Microsoft turned this ship around and Xbox is heading for the comeback that we have all been waiting for. There's a lot to be excited for if you're an Xbox fan on the horizon. So before I get in, I like to qualify myself. I know I'm an Xbox YouTuber guy, but here's a little secret for all of you who may not know. I actually have all of the current gen consoles. That's right. I have an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5 and a Nintendo Switch. It's something that I think about in the sense of, you know, if I were to go back in time and show my kid self that I have all these awesome gaming machines, I would just be blowing my mind right now. I am an Xbox YouTuber, but I know a thing or two about the other consoles, and I enjoy the other consoles as well. So starting off with something simple, when it comes to the packaging of these two consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, it's just small, obviously, right? We're not looking for a gaming machine to have the best packaging, right? It's a small detail, but I really appreciate the care that Microsoft put into the experience of opening up a Series X versus a PlayStation 5. Now, I did an unboxing of the Halo Infinite Special Edition Series X, and they use the same formula for the other just regular base Series X models. So I said it in that video, it almost feels as though you are opening up a gift to yourself. Everything is so nicely wrapped and deliberate in their design of the packaging. I'm pretty sure that when I opened up my Series X, there was even a little thank you note from Microsoft or Xbox saying, "Thank you for choosing this console to power your dreams. Let's power the dreams of gaming that you have." It's small, but it made it really feel like an event. It made me feel excited that I had this Xbox Series X open it up, and it was just a whole experience. Now, when I was opening up my PlayStation 5, it was exciting, obviously, because the PlayStation 5 is a hot commodity right now. But there was like 3 boxes I had to work through and everything was super difficult to get open. So like I said, small thing, but I really appreciate the packaging for the Xbox Series X. Now, in terms of the hardware, this is a hotly debated topic because the hardware for the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, the specs, they're nearly identical, right? For example, they have the same CPU and RAM. However, there are some key differences here, mostly in the GPU. It was a hotly discussed topic at launch because PlayStation came out and said they were gonna have a 10.3 teraflop GPU by AMD, and Xbox was gonna have a 12 teraflop GPU. And there was a whole debate on how that was gonna affect the performance of games and how they process high-res images and videos. And what it came down to is that, again, mostly the same, right? People were saying that the storage on the PlayStation 5 was so fast that it made up for that difference in GPU. Where I think Xbox takes the edge on this is definitely the storage. So technically, you're gonna get close to a terabyte on both consoles, right? But PlayStation officially sits around 800 gigs, a little bit more in terms of overall storage, and Xbox has a true 1 terabyte. Okay, 1 terabyte, it's more like, what is it after you take out what they need for the processing, like 900 or something like that. So there is a little bit more of an edge when it comes to just pure storage on the Xbox Series X. Either way, modern games take up so much space. I heard that the new Stalker game is gonna have something like a 160 gigabyte storage requirement. So whether you have the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox, yeah, the storage is gonna fill up pretty fast. Now that leads me to the topic of expandable storage, right? For Xbox, expandable storage options are pretty limited right now in terms of having storage where you can play the games directly off that device. So right now for Xbox, the only option when it comes to expanding your SSD is this Seagate card. It's a proprietary exclusive partnership that Microsoft has going on right now. The downside is It could be pretty expensive, right? But it's very convenient. You get this little thing, you plug it right in, and you can play games directly off of that storage device. Whereas over on the PlayStation, you can get just a regular computer SSD, but there's a lot that goes into upgrading that. You gotta take the plates off, you gotta do a whole thing. You gotta make sure it has a heat sink, you gotta make sure the read-write speed is the same. You gotta make sure that it is actually supported. Some drives they don't list as supported are actually supported sometimes, so there's a lot of confusion going on, and they have a lot of work to do on that end as well. So in terms of expandable storage, I would rank these about the same, but in terms of internal storage, I would give this edge to the Xbox because it starts with 1 terabyte, whereas PlayStation 5 starts with about 825 gigabytes, so the usable amount of storage is sitting around 670 gigs. Whereas Xbox, because it's starting with that terabyte, it'll go down to about 800 gigs of usable storage. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the performance between these two consoles is a wash, but I disagree with that statement because we're seeing right now, in real time, that Xbox supports way more titles at 120 FPS than PlayStation currently does. And also, Xbox has 1440p support, which is insane that PlayStation does not have that. It does not downscale from 4K. So if you have a 1440p monitor and you plug a PS5 in, sorry, you're gonna be playing games at 1080p. And what is this, 2015? I don't wanna do that. Another thing that's just absolutely crazy is that PlayStation 5 does not have variable refresh rate. I know that sounds like a small nitpicky thing to say, that I would never need something like that. You say that now until you start to experience screen tearing, and then don't come crying to me when that happens to you. Now, for those of you who don't know, screen tearing is when the game drops below your TV's frame rate capabilities, and then you start to see those lines going horizontally across your TV. The Xbox, if your TV or monitor supports variable refresh rate, will stop that from happening. And most modern TVs support variable refresh rate. Now, an update is supposed to bring variable refresh rate to the PS5 soon, but we have no idea when that's supposed to happen. Now, just thinking about it and talking through it now, it occurs to me that the Xbox is able to do that because it has roots in the PC world. It comes from Microsoft, obviously, the developers of Windows and all the PC greatness that we have going on right now. So that's something that has been available on PCs for a while now. Now, Xbox is just a complete winner when it comes to having a web browser on your console. And not only is it a web browser, but it's a PC grade web browser. Literally, it functions the same on your console that it would on your computer. Now, it's Microsoft Edge, and I know Microsoft Edge has sort of been a joke for the past couple years now, but it's basically Google Chrome without all of the bloat and all of the ad stuff that slows down Google Chrome. So it's actually kind of nice. Personally, another thing I like about the Xbox Series X versus the PlayStation 5 is the UI, the user interface, and the overall experience that you have on your dashboard. When it comes to the PlayStation 5, there's not really a ton of customization options for your dashboard, and that's kind of a bummer because whenever you go and hover over a game, for example, if you were to go to your app that has the Miles Morales Spider-Man, it kind of comes up with this cool background and plays some cool music, boom, 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 before you start up the game. But it's a bummer that you can't just take a background like that and set it permanently to your dashboard. Now, it's crazy to think that the PS3, the PSP, the PS Vita, and the PS4 all had customizable backgrounds, but not the PS5. Interesting. I will say that they do have a dynamic background, so that's pretty interesting. Now, on the Xbox side, I feel like I have a lot more freedom with my personalization options. They just dropped some really sick dynamic backgrounds for Halo and Wasteland, which are really, really cool. And they're testing this insider feature, which will allow you to use your Microsoft Edge browser on your console and take any image that you see on your browser and instantly set it as your background. That's pretty cool. And now the one thing I haven't talked about, which is perhaps the biggest thing Xbox has going on for itself right now, is Game Pass. Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. I love it. I've talked about it on this channel a whole bunch of times, and I'm gonna talk about it again right now because Game Pass, like I said, is the best value that you can get in gaming right now. It comes with hundreds of games that you can play right now. So many games that I don't even think I'd be able to play through all of them if I had the time. It comes with free stuff. They give you free perks. For example, I've talked about this before, but I have Crunchyroll Premium for free right now. I have Discord Nitro for free right now, and Spotify Premium right now for free, thanks to my Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. Now, it took a long time for me to buy into Game Pass, right? I already had so many other subscription services that, man, a subscription service for my games, I don't know if I'm ready for that, you know? But once I did, I can't imagine my life without it, honestly. I've gotten to play more games in these past few months than I have in the past few years. It's awesome. And games that I normally wouldn't try. For example, when Forza Horizon 5 came out, I'm not really a racing game guy. I wouldn't go out and spend $60 on a racing game. But it was free with my Game Pass subscription, so I tried it out and I love it. I'm glad that I was able to try it out, that there was such a low barrier of entry for me to try it out and just satisfy my curiosity, if anything. I've played so many games: Scarlet Nexus, Subnautica Below Zero, Dodgeball Academia, Artful Escape, 12 Minutes. The list goes on and on and on. That doesn't even include all the same day one launches that come to the service. Day one. I just said day one a whole bunch of times, but that is the big thing. That's the big draw, day one. When Psychonauts was released to all consoles, it came to Game Pass day one, and I played the absolute crap out of that game. Same thing with Halo Infinite. It came to Game Pass, and I played the crap out of that game. And yes, PlayStation has PlayStation Now, but you only get the PlayStation 4 versions of the games. They take the games off of the service a lot faster than they do on Game Pass, and streaming the PlayStation 3 games, frankly, it's just not good. It's just not great. It's not a great service. I will say that the one thing that Game Pass needs to work on is the cloud gaming stuff. Sometimes I load up cloud gaming and it works great, and then there are other times when no, it's just a no. Especially shooters, it's just a no. But yes, Game Pass, it was something for a long time people criticized, and it's fastly proving that it's a great service, it's a valuable service. They've been putting out bangers on Game Pass day one. Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Psychonauts, they're gonna put Starfield on there, Redfall, all of the Xbox Studios games they're gonna put on that service, and I think that's what makes Game Pass so awesome. And backwards compatibility right now on Xbox is just straight up better than on PlayStation right now. It sort of just doesn't exist on PlayStation right now, except if you want to do PlayStation Now and play some PlayStation 3 titles on there. But anything older than that, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, sorry, you can't play. Now, I'm not saying that every old Xbox game is going to be compatible with your Series X console, but a lot of them are compared to what PlayStation has and old Nintendo games for sure. One of the big announcements for their 20th anniversary showcase was that they were adding over 70 titles to their backwards compatible supported list. And the best thing about it is that you can take any of the supported backwards compatible titles, you can take their original discs, put them into your Xbox, and you'll get all the free upgrades that they've rolled out for those supported titles, such as resolution boost, frame boost, all sorts of awesome stuff. Now, from my understanding, PlayStation is working on this with this new Spartacus service, but the thing is, again, you're not gonna be playing any of these games natively, any of these old games natively. It's all gonna be streamed. You're gonna have to get the top tier subscription for Spartacus if you want that backwards compatibility. Before we get into the next section, I'm giving away an Xbox Series X to one of my viewers. I'm super excited about it. If you want more details, stay until the end of this video and check out the link in the description for instructions. But enough about Xbox. Here are some things I like about PlayStation that I think Xbox should totally steal. Now let's get the big thing out of the way. PlayStation has way more AAA first-party exclusives than Xbox does. It was true last generation with the PS4 when they had Uncharted 4, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, all these bangers, right? And it's true this generation with the PlayStation 5. For example, they have Spider-Man Miles Morales, they have Ratchet & Clank, they have Returnal, they have Deathloop, which is an Xbox Studios game. It's only a timed exclusive, baby. But Deathloop for right now is only on the PlayStation 5. They have bangers over there, guys. They have Santa Monica Studios, they have Insomniac, God of War Ragnarok's coming up, Horizon Forbidden West, the new Spider-Man game with Miles Morales and Peter Parker. And they have the new Wolverine game coming out, so a lot to look forward to when it comes to exclusives on PlayStation 5. Xbox Studios also has a lot of exclusives to look forward to. All of the Bethesda games, Obsidian's games, Avowed is coming up next year sometime soon, Redfall, all sorts of awesome stuff to look forward to, but there are still some things that we have to kind of wait and see how they handle it. Obviously, I think the huge thing right now for Sony is Spider-Man. People love Spider-Man, and there's no really superhero IP that Xbox has right now that can compete with that. Now, I don't really want to go to Xbox and say, hey, give me the Xbox version of Uncharted, give me the Xbox version of Horizon, give me the Xbox version of this PlayStation game. I don't want that, right? I want Xbox to keep doing what it's doing. Obviously, they have really awesome shooters like Halo and Gears, and some first-person RPGs coming up, like I said, with Avowed and all of Bethesda's stuff. So I want them to keep doing what they're doing. But in terms of AAA first-party exclusives, I gotta give this to PS5. Obviously, another big thing the PlayStation 5 has is their controller. This controller is awesome. Honestly, it is, and that's coming from an Xbox guy. They got the haptic feedback, the DualSense technology, and the adaptive triggers. It's almost like a pro controller just straight out the box, right? Whereas the Xbox controller, you know, it's basically an Xbox One controller, but just a little bit better, right? They have the kind of texturized grips on the back, and that's pretty much it. I think it's a little bit smaller, I think. Oh, and they also have the capture button right on the center as well. But more or less, same controller as we saw last generation, whereas PlayStation really stepped it up and made a cool controller for this PlayStation 5, this new generation. But in terms of physical customization options for your controller and your console, Xbox definitely wins. The Xbox Design Lab is something I've talked about a lot in the past, and although there are limitations on there, I think it's a great service. And there are also just a ton of controllers out there that I think are super cool and can go with your own personal style and look. I have a whole video unboxing a ton of different controllers, including some Space Jam ones, the Aqua Shift one, the Forza one, and overall, it's just really cool. There's a wide variety of Xbox controllers out there that fit your specific style and personality. Over on Xbox, you have a special edition Halo console that's really cool. I did an unboxing of that. A SpongeBob one, the Far Cry one was really cool. There was a Whataburger one that I really appreciated as a native San Antonio. Now again, these two things are sort of similar, but Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus, I'm definitely gonna have to give the edge to PlayStation Plus. Like I said, you get more or less the same stuff. You get the ability to play online, you get some free games every month. The free games over on Xbox Live Gold are meh, especially now that Game Pass is just giving you a ton of awesome free games with your subscription, and they bundle that into your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate sub, so Xbox Live Gold has kind of fallen off a little bit, but over on PlayStation Plus, like I said, you get that ability to play your games online, and what they really did, which was smart here, especially for me, someone who missed out on last generation's PlayStation exclusives, they put a lot of their classic titles on PlayStation Plus for free. So I got to play God of War, I've got to play Persona 5, I've got to play The Last of Us, all thanks to my PlayStation Plus subscription. I think that's awesome. Let's talk about the cheap next-gen options that PlayStation and Xbox offer. Clearly, PlayStation 5 sort of takes the cake here, right? Because the digital version of the PlayStation 5 is just a PlayStation 5, right? Without the disc drive. It's the same thing, and it's a cheap way to get into next-gen gaming because it's $100 cheaper, coming in at $400 versus $500. Whereas the all-digital next-gen console option for Xbox is the Series S, right? It's cheaper, right? It's $300, still a good deal, but when you compare it to the discless PS5, the PS5 is a clear winner in that. Another thing that I like about the PlayStation 5, and this is a very specific problem, I own a couple of microphones because I'm a voice actor, and one of those microphones is a Blue Yeti Pro. It's a USB mic, and people refer to those mics as a plug-and-play mic. You take your mic, you plug it into the USB port on your computer, and you're automatically able to start recording high-quality audio. That's the whole draw of it, right? But when it comes to the consoles, you can plug that microphone into your PlayStation 5 and just use it as a mic. It just works automatically, nothing needed. But over on Xbox side, and this is something I had to learn the hard way, if you take a USB mic and plug it into your Xbox, you would think it would work, right? Especially because, like I said, Xbox has those PC roots, but it doesn't. You gotta do all sorts of extra stuff. You gotta get a controller adapter, you gotta get an aux splitter, you gotta get a 3.5mm male-to-male cable and plug that into your mic, and then you can finally use that fancy USB mic for your party chat and for your streams. Again, a very specific issue. I was just super annoyed with that when I was setting up my Twitch setup, so I thought I would rant about it a little bit. So in that regard, PlayStation 5 wins again. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully this video helps you make the decision that's best for you when choosing your next-gen console. I am giving my first Xbox away on this channel. If you check out the description, I have a link with instructions on how to do so. I'm super excited because I'm super passionate about getting consoles into the hands of people who want it. Not scalpers, not resellers, people like you who watch my channel, and I'm glad to be able to help out and give away a free console to one of my viewers. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name is Ray. Make sure you subscribe, set your notifications to all. I'd greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.